welcome. I'm Molly, I'm your yoga teacher. Today is class 3 of 4 in this yin restorative series for tight or sore muscles. Today's class emphasis is on our neck, our shoulders, our chest region. You can totally do it without props. I will give modifications and variations, but if you have them, a strap or belt would be really nice, set of blocks or books, and then some type of pillow or bolster. So grab that stuff and we'll get started. Today we're going to begin just in any comfortable seated pose. So whether that's sitting on your heels with your knees in front of you, or crossing your legs, sitting on a bolster, just find that option that lets you drop in. Close your eyes down and start to tune into your breath. So feel how it fills up your belly, your ribs, your chest, and lengthens the crown of your head high on an inhale. And then exhale, feel everything start to get heavy. Sit bones sink into the mat. Shoulders release down. Take 2 more breaths just like that. Separating what you were doing before and what you have to do next to these next few moments together. Last breath in together. Through your nose, nice and slow. And then out. So keep your eyes closed. And going against all postural advice, I want you to tuck your chin in towards your chest and just slouch. So let your mid and upper back round. Let your shoulders cave in. You might not feel anything immediately and right away, but over time, that sensation along the back of your spine and neck might start to creep in, and just settle here and stay here and breathe. Let your shoulders fan out wide. And let your forehead magnetize down towards the earth. The back of your throat, the back of your neck lengthens. More breaths. Round into yourself a little more. And then on your next in-breath, slowly stack your spine, straighten up. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, and then exhale. Release them down. If you have a strap, go ahead and grab it. Make a small loop. And then bring it into your right hand behind your back. And then slide your left hand into that loop. Put the long end of the strap over your right shoulder like a backpack strap. And start to kind of cinch up so you feel a nice stretch into internal rotation on that left shoulder. Nothing too sharp or crazy, but just somewhere where your arm feels supported and stretched. And then drop your right ear over towards your right shoulder. And if you want to relax that right arm even more, You can bring the strap kind of supported underneath your right knee or left foot so your right arm does not have to hold on to it. And then take a few moments to nod your head yes and no, do a few circles, find somewhere that's interesting for you. Once you find that spot, just settle in. We're getting a double stretch into the left shoulder and the left side of the neck. If that feels a lot for you to focus on both things at once, just take out one of the elements. Necks and backs can be especially touchy areas. So find somewhere where you can maintain that soft, smooth breath. And then as you relax more, maybe you sink in more. But being careful to not go too far off the bat. Stay for 5 more breaths. Maybe tilt your head slightly a different direction. Left hand is totally relaxed and disengaged. Use your right hand along your right cheek to slowly lift your head back up to center. Release the strap. Gently roll out your left shoulder, and then we'll switch sides. So bring that strap into your left hand behind your back, and then loop your right hand through it. So maybe I'll turn around for this one so you can see what we're doing. Right hand behind the back. Strap over the left shoulder like a backpack, and then start to cinch up on it until you find a good stretch for that right shoulder. And then I like to bring the long end of the strap underneath my right foot and weigh it down there so I don't have to use my left hand to hold on to it. Once you find your spot, grow your spine long. And then bring your left shoulder and left ear to meet. Again, take a few moments to just shake and nod and circle your head. Find what feels interesting. Relax your right hand. And then breathe. Find that sense of ease, that sense of time, just slowing down and pausing here. Not rushing along to whatever posture is next, but digging into this pose. Maybe your left ear grows heavier and closer to your left shoulder. A slightly different tilt, and we'll stay for 5 more breaths. your left hand along your left side of your face. Gently bring it back to center. Release the strap from your right hand. Now if you find you kind of got any tingling feelings or a headache, ease off, but that also might mean you need to come back to these stretches a little more often. I think I neglect my neck and I forget how much sensation I can feel there. So we're going to move into Sphinx pose. You don't need any props for this unless you especially want to practice with them. But come onto your belly, facing the long edge of the mat, or along the length of the mat, sorry. Prop up onto your forearms and elbows. And then at first we're going to be a little more active. So bring your shoulders back, pinch your shoulder blades together, and press your heart forwards. See if you can feel a lifting and arc of your mid-back. Almost like it's like a half pipe. You're pressing forward and then up, like a scooping motion. If you want, you can bring some neck movement into it, or just focusing on broadening your collarbones, expanding through your chest. And see if you can maintain the integrity of your breath. So not letting it get shorter or choppier, but letting it fill your belly, your kidneys, your side ribs, and still letting it make its way to the top of your chest, to your upper back. Maybe you hear a pop, a click. Big exhale. 2 more breaths like that, as full and expansive as you can. Letting it make its way through your whole chest cavity. Exhale, release. Big inhale. And then on your exhale, I want you to just shrug your shoulders. Let the back of your heart drop in between your armpits and lower your head down. Much less engaged. You're just kind of relying on the traction of your elbows outwards to keep you steady. This might feel just relaxing and releasing, or you might feel a little stretch along the front of your shoulders. Either way, just hang out here. More breath. Can you sink your heart closer to the mat? For 2. And then on 1, lift back up. We're going to move into puppy pose, heart melting. So walk your hands back, hips stack on top of your knees, and then stretch your fingertips forward. So we have a couple options. You can come onto your forehead and think about wrapping the outer armpits down towards the mat. You can even drop your elbows if you want more of a restorative option where you don't have to lift and engage. This is great right here. If you're feeling a little more open, maybe you walk forward slightly and rest your chin and chest onto the mat. I'm going to stay here for a couple, and then I'm going to move into that more released version. So finding as much opening through the chest and your lats and shoulders as you can. Letting your breath make its way to your upper spine. And if that starts to feel like a little too much engagement, then come back to the gentler version on your forehead with elbows dropped. You also have the option of bending your elbows and bringing your thumbs to the nape of your neck. And we'll hang out here for a couple. Soft as you can here. Hips stay lifted, but the rest of you sinks as heavy down into the mat as you can. Take 5 more breaths. Start to wiggle into your fingers, extend them long if they were bent. And then walk your hands underneath your shoulders. We'll make our way to the front of our mat again and move into a cactus stretch. So lower down all the way onto your belly. And then goalpost your left arm out to the side so your elbow is bent at 90 degrees, your palm is facing down. I don't know if you can hear that car, but I'm sorry if you can. We're going to roll onto our left hip, bend our knees, and stack them on top of each other. So instead of being really active and trying to scorpion that right toe towards your left elbow, we're going to find some softness here. So I still want you to feel like you're opening through the front of your left shoulder, your left chest and pec. But the rest of your body is just really soft and heavy. If you don't feel enough sensation, I want you to find a block or bolster and place it underneath your knees. This will kind of rotate the rest of your body up, but in a way that you don't have to engage it. So I feel it increase when I slide that underneath my left thigh. And breathe into your left chest. Soften your eyes down if they're not. Soften your jaw. Three more breaths. Plant your right hand on the mat, push through your left palm, gently rise up, and we're going to stay laying on our left side. We're going to come into, I call it a lazy side seal. So your fingertips are further out in front of you than your shoulder is, and then you let your left ribs separate and drop heavy down towards the mat. Let your shoulder shrug up towards your ear drop down to your shoulder. And if you want more of a neck stretch, bring your right hand behind your back and tuck it underneath your left hip. See how that opens up the right side of your neck. So our two main focuses are that lateral flexion over to the left, breathing into the right side of the neck, but then also creating as much space between your left armpit and your left hip bone as possible, expanding through those ribs. And breathe. Take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to ease onto the other side, starting with that cactus stretch. So lay down onto your belly, go pose, so 90-degree bend through your right elbow. And then roll onto your right hip, roll onto your right cheek. Hang out here for a few breaths, see how that feels, if it's enough of a stretch. Then stay here. If you need a little more sensation, go ahead and slide that bolster underneath your outer right thigh. Everything melts down like a puddle, and we'll stay for several breaths. Again, coming to a place where you feel a nice stretch through the right shoulder and the right chest, but not to a place where it makes you tense up. So adjust as needed. If you need less sensation, you could prop up your hips so your knees are lower than your hips, like this. Soften your right ribs down towards the mat. Relax any engagement you have in your hips. We're here for 5 more. Start to wiggle into your fingers, press into your palms, release your bolster, and then we'll move into our side seal. So keep your knees stacked. Your right fingertips are further out than your right shoulder. And then again, just let those right ribs separate and drop down. Let your right ear relax onto your right shoulder and your shoulder shrug up towards your ear. If you want more sensation, bring your left hand behind your back and pin it underneath your right sit bone. Find any adjustments that you need and hang out. If you feel like doing 2 things at once takes away from one of the stretches, then just do one at a time. But again, we want to feel some length through our left neck and feel some length through our right side body. More soft, full breaths. All right, one more for good measure. I found another interesting spot. And then ease out of that. We'll move into our final pose, which is a supported fish pose. It'd be great if you had 2 blocks. If you don't, I know you have a pillow of some sort or a bolster, and you're just going to lay that lengthwise. Your feet come to center, your knees out wide, or vice versa, whatever is comfortable. And then you open up your chest, dropping your arms out to the side. If you do have the 2 blocks, you're going to put the top one horizontal. That'll be a pillow for your head. And then you're going to put the bottom one vertical. That's going to go in between your shoulder blades. So we're opening up our thoracic spine. So turn on around. Bottom edge of that bottom block is somewhere towards the bottom of your shoulder blade. And then adjust as needed with the pillow. Do whatever feels good with your legs. It's not the emphasis of this pose. And then if you feel like you want even more chest opening, you can turn that bottom block on its medium height. Ease in, settle in, experiment. Chill. Arms can come out to the side or overhead. lower setting today. Just feel yourself opening up into these areas in your chest and your shoulders, in your spine and ribs that are normally neglected. If you want to lessen the engagement through your arms, I like to interlace my fingers so it's kind of like a lock over my head, or just bring them closer down towards your body as opposed to completely out to the side. Anything where you feel relaxed, like you can melt into this pose and your heart can grow wider. Tune into your breath again. Make sure it's slow and steady. Let the tips of your shoulders roll out and down. If you can fold down even more over the edges of your block for 3 more breaths. It's like you're a piece of taffy being molded. And then if this feels like a good home for your Shavasana, if you want to stay here longer or release into a meditation, please do. Otherwise, our practice will end here, and I'll see you next time for our hip focus class. Please share this class with others if you enjoyed it, and thank you for joining. Namaste.